Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 38 until I become a YouTube millionaire. Yeah. So, in case you haven't figured it out by this point, one of the reasons I've actually titled this series, which is just daily videos of me chatting about things that are on the top of my head, is to highlight, whether such a thing can happen or not to a person like myself. Whether YouTube is actually a viable platform or not in perpetuity. I will say that, having a repository of information like YouTube is fantastic, but the economic model, not necessarily the best. If somebody who puts in consistent effort like this, after 5,000 videos, doesn't get any traction whatsoever. So we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to state, because I'm watching a video right now called something to the effect of Femcels and whatnot, a little bit of a discussion on why I am in the current romantic state that I am in. It's very simple, and at the same time, not. I remember when I was in high school and college, I actually, for a while, kept track of all the women that I had asked out or pursued, in terms of numbers, raw numbers. And at that point, by the time I stopped counting, it was like 45 women or something, without a single one of them actually pursuing back or saying yes. And having caught 3 charges. I posted a short a while back that I am an incel. There you go. Juxtapose this with my last video. What the hell is going on here? I don't think I have Asperger's and am not picking up on people's emotional cues and stuff like that, social cues and all that. I don't think that's the case, right? It's only women who have nothing to lose and that are willing to actually pursue me in any way, shape, or form. It's very frustrating. I'm not asking for much. Here's my threshold. I want you to be a 5.5 or better. And be nice. And want to have kids. Preferably a lot of kids. That's it. It's not a very high bar, right? But yeah. So when I said I caught 3 charges, 3 restraining orders. Now, mind you, this was at the Air Force Academy, so everybody was tightly wound up. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And Air Force Academy graduate can't find somebody. Yeah, 3 restraining orders. One was a young lady, I think this was 2010, who I pursued. Just got scared because I was in the same room as her. I didn't even say anything to her. And talked to my air officer commanding and got me a no contact order, restraining order. The other one was a woman who I had known, chatted with a little bit. One night there was an anticipation that I was going to go pursue her directly, and because of all the other rejections I had gotten, I kind of didn't. And then the next day she got a restraining order set up against me. And then another young lady who had decided to leave the Air Force Academy because of XYZ reasons I tried to reconnect with her, and my timing, admittedly, was pretty bad. Somebody had just unalived themselves at the academy, and turned out that this person was actually a really close friend of the person I was pursuing at the time, and I did screw that one up. I did. But even so, I don't think it justified a no contact order. She was under the assumption that I was going to do the same thing to myself. And I give her credit for getting right to the academy to talk to me to make sure that that wasn't going to happen. But no, that's not why I was pursuing her. I was pursuing her because, like, oh crap, I need to seize the day, if you will. Carpe diem. Because obviously we don't live forever. And this is a woman in whom I was genuinely interested. Relatively average physically looking, right? But deep mind. And I mean, clearly she has to be at least somewhat deep to get into the Air Force Academy, right? And we were compatible on a lot of different levels. Ironically, she succumbed to that's a weird way of putting it, lesbianism after the fact, because she was kind of curious and not really sure what she was interested in beforehand. She had made it clear she was interested in me, right? I think even up to the end there, she's like, she was, but then, yeah, she started, like, trying other stuff, and turned out that she was interested in women. I don't know. It's a big old jumbled fucking mess, my romantic background. I remember I was the cadet in charge of Marathon Club at the Air Force Academy in 2011, and I was trying to get a young lady to come out and run with us on a consistent basis because she was a very good runner. I wasn't trying to pursue her or anything. I wasn't interested in her. I was trying to be the cadet in charge, trying to do my job, right? And she talked to my air officer commanding, or something to that effect. I can't remember the exact details, because apparently she was having a lot of trouble at home, and they had just gotten done with a sexual assault response coordinator meeting at the academy, like a briefing. There we go, briefing. So she was already primed to do that. And this was just, I mean, I remember my air officer commanding, Major Donnelly, take him into his office. Like, yeah, this is nonsense. Don't worry about it, dude. I know you weren't trying anything with her. It's just she was dealing with crap. So, just to give you an indication of how tightly wound up we all were at the academy, it was extremely difficult. Extremely. So if you're looking for a challenge, then that's a place to go. If you're just looking to get a degree, then just go to a university, right? But if you want a challenge, unless you're like five people at the very top of the totem pole that just seem to be able to get through all the academics and all the athletics and stuff without, like, it's a breeze. Unless you're those top 5 people or whatever, it's gonna be a challenge. I ended up being in the upper half of the pack. I graduated with a 3.1 GPA, and everything else was pretty normal. Right? The 3.1 GPA in electrical engineering, mind you. So, half of the graduates don't even get engineering degrees. We all get bachelors of science from the academy, but not all of us get engineering degrees. So 3.1 in that is actually pretty good. It's like maybe a 3.3 or a 3.5 for any of the other degrees. And then if you go outside of the Air Force Academy, they consider it. Schools on average, from what I've heard, from what I've been told, will add like a full GPA point to your graduating GPA if you went to the Air Force Academy. So I had a 3.1, they'll call it a 4.1. And to that point, I graduated from high school with a 4.26 GPA, right? Because I had taken some advanced placement courses, some honors courses, which gave you an extra grade point. That's basically the way most universities looked at an Air Force Academy graduation, like GPA. So, but that's a side point. I'm watching this video talking about Femcels, me being an incel, right? It's interesting to me. What is going on romantically with the world right now? I mean, they've made points that it's because those women who are still femcels or something like that are looking to get the top 5% of all men out there in terms of physical attractiveness. And they're looking for 666, it's mark of the beast, ironically, six-pack abs, six-figure income, and 6 feet tall or above. Well, ironically, I actually have all those three things, and I can't find anybody. And I'm above a 6 physically, I think, right? But yeah. So if this is to be the case, and there's a reason Christianity has, we've had it the way it is for as long as we have. Christianity tells you one man, one woman, that's what you're supposed to do. Is because if it weren't that way, the top 5% of men would get every single woman. It's basically a way to make it egalitarian and level playing field, so that an average man doesn't have difficulty finding a woman with whom he can raise a family, right? Because in general, we as men are pretty disposable. Don't get me wrong, that's why we go to war. Traditionally, throughout history, men had gone to fight our battles, right? And women stayed at home taking care of the family. It's genetics. Men are built to be stronger physically, to protect the family and the civilization that you're trying to build. So we're pretty disposable. It takes one man at the same time to repopulate the planet if they have 100 women, right? But if you have one woman and 100 men, you could technically repopulate the world, but it would be really difficult. You'd be looking at a lot of chance, and yeah, it's just doesn't work the same way. Lock and key, guys. A key that opens up many locks is a master key. A lock that opens to any key is useless. So that's what that means. And these femcels that apparently are very popular or very big in Gen Z are there because they've fallen away from the Christian ethic and don't have anything to replace it with which to replace it. All right? Now, the ironic thing about that is that if they do want to go outside tradition, they can still do that within Christianity. It's just that they're taking the responsibility upon their own shoulders for their sins. And to sin is to miss the mark. That's what the term means. Now, you look at King Solomon. King Solomon was one of the greatest kings of the past. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines, or something to that effect. A huge number of women, right? He was the wisest man on the planet, the smartest, right? And the wealthiest. That was in the Old Testament of the Bible. And like 3/4 of the kings in the Old Testament had more than one wife. So you're sinning. You're missing the mark. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. God tells you one man, one woman, right? You become one flesh. But that doesn't mean you're automatically going to hell if you have multiple women or, what have you. Just doesn't go the other way around. It doesn't. So if a woman is holding themselves chaste because they're looking for somebody who's going to be serious and not just a hookup, then they need to be fully serious about that and not wait for the top 5%. Because if you're waiting for the top 5%, guess what's going to happen? There's 20 other women that are going to want that guy. And he has his pick. And you're probably not going to be one of those 20 women if you want him to have one woman. I know you don't like it. I don't either. But at least in my life, I'll be frank with you. I want a metric crap ton of kids. I do. I haven't even gotten started yet. If I want a metric crap ton of kids, unless my woman is willing to have 10, 12, whatever kids on her own, probably going to need more than one woman. I'm just saying, guys. You are putting it upon your own shoulders if you, for the consequences of that sin. If you sin, it's missing the mark. God can't condone it. He can't protect you when you're doing that because he said, no, this is wrong. But it doesn't automatically mean you're going to hell. So for those women out there who are incels, or femcels, pardon me, who are legitimately waiting for that man that's the top 5%, because most of the time they don't even realize it, they're not thinking of it that way, then just accept being one of many women that are going to be with him. And all of you are cleaved to the same flesh, all married to him. If there's real love there, if you're really married, or you really love them, you're really married to them. Even if the man has 20 women, he can legitimately be married to every single one of them if he legitimately loves them. Which I would tell you, that would be an easy thing for me to do. I love everybody. I do. Romantically, I can love many people. Ironically, I've had none. So, anyway, this is a very unorthodox one today. Just some thoughts, guys. I'm in a very awkward romantic situation in my life. I stopped pursuing because of the restraining orders. I stopped counting because the number was getting depressing. Watch my previous video to juxtapose it with this one, and you'll see that it's very strange that I have not found a woman yet. Not a single one. Anyway. Well, I did find one or two, but they insisted on multiple men with one woman. Does not work that way. It does not work that way. And I'm very pissed off that I always have to clarify that. Lock and key. Very simple. Anyway. Love y'all. Peace.